You can simply not risk right now not knowing how many people are going to come to your venue.
The entire visitor journey is something that needs to be considered. There are so many different touch points. We cannot only think about that one, for example, camera in the park that will solve the entire social distancing problem or topic.
I think we got like a very broad spectrum of all the different technologies that are being especially thought for the leisure industry in these tough times.
Hello and welcome to the 5th episode of Convios on Air, the podcast about the exciting world of leisure, technology, and best of both worlds, technology in the leisure industry. My name is Vanessa, and last episode we had an amazing talk with industry expert Rolf Lücken. We talked about how venues are adapting to the new normal, meaning bringing a great experience to the people while facilitating social distancing. We also talked about the industry's resilience coming from its strong bonds within the community, but also with its visitors. We talked about reopenings, as well as the resulting positive opportunities on visitors and their experience within theme parks and attractions. In case you have not listened to it yet, you should definitely tune in episode number 4 after this. As attractions prepare to reopen according to new safety measures, it is necessary to find new solutions to address these reopening measures accordingly. The International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions has always been about bringing the industry together. But especially now with the new challenges arising, the short put IAAPA has made it their goal to help. This is why they hosted the Social Distancing Technologies to Facilitate Reopening in Attractions webinar on May 20th. During the webinar, several IAAPA members presented and talked about their innovative platforms and technological solutions to help venues with virtual lines, social distancing, guest flow control, online ticketing, and much more. Convios also attended, but that is not solely why we are here today. We believe it is useful to you to have a chat as some sort of summary of what has been presented. So I invited my colleague Suania, who has watched and prepared our take in the webinar with me, to have this chat and give a peek into what we have seen without having you to watch the entire seminar back. Welcome to Convios on Air, Suania.
Hey Vanessa, so glad to be here.
We are so excited to have you.
Yeah, I'm also so excited. I've been listening to all the previous episodes and I'm so happy that we can be here today.
Yeah, thanks so much again. If we want to dive in right straight to the webinar we've both seen on the 20th of May, can you summarize in your own words what we were introduced to there?
Yeah, so as you mentioned earlier, we attended this pretty interesting webinar about how social distancing is and actually will change the leisure industry, at least for the nearby future, and how certain technologies have risen or repurposed themselves to help through these challenging times. So especially now that we keep on seeing more and more leisure venues here in Europe preparing their grand reopening, I thought this was a super interesting topic. We saw so many tech solutions for different purposes, such as online ticketing, booking time slots, new apps, solutions like specifically for water parks, guest flow prediction software, wearables, and so many more things. So I think we got like a very broad spectrum of all the different technologies that are being especially thought for the leisure industry in these tough times.
Yeah, I think what we've seen is really like an amazing overview of what has been developed or what is developed. What you picked up, I think, is super interesting. The whole old and new coming together to see how several actors within leisure and tech are this agile and innovative. And we see some of them used all their experiences in developing a certain product to discover now how to use it differently to solve different and more current problems. So they just rebuild their business proposition with what they already have, developed for years, and others put together entirely new businesses with new ideas and new technologies. And I think that's really exciting to see. But you already mentioned the openings across Europe. What is the one technology that we see to be employed the most, picked up by the webinar, but also in actual action within leisure of Europe. And why do you think this technology is that?
Yeah, so I think I don't know if it's like the technology itself or maybe the theme. The most important thing, and I've heard it as well, as you mentioned it in some previous episodes here on Convios on Air, is how to migrate all your sales online. So we saw a lot of technology aiming at that topic. You can simply not risk right now not knowing how many people are going to come to your venue. So, where some venues saw this as a complement or an extra way of selling tickets through third parties in the past, the reality is that now most venues will have to migrate all or almost all of their sales to the web. And we're talking not only selling tickets, but also having the ability to reserve time slots, to predict crowds, to have upfront payments in things such as parking, extra meals, even souvenirs. So it's more like of a strategic thinking of how to migrate your business into the online world. So just like to give an example or a tangible example of how this is working here in Europe, let's take a look at, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. My Dutch is not that good yet, but the Avonturenpark in Hellendoorn, which is one of the biggest theme parks here in the Netherlands, they have clearly stated on their website that they are not selling any tickets offline. All of the tickets that they are selling are online, and that absolutely everyone must make a reservation to visit their venue. So if you go to their website, you can either buy a new ticket and reserve your day of visit, or if you already have a ticket or you're a season pass holder, you have to reserve your visit day as well. So we know now that reservation is the key to control guest flow before they even arrive. And as we mentioned on the webinar, the crowd control solution that we offer here at Convios is great for this purpose. But one of the things that were mentioned in the webinar, and I found quite interesting, were technologies that helped you control social distancing within the venue itself. Apps that can notify you when you're breaking the 1.5 meter distance with another visitor, sensor cameras that give you a heat map of your venue in real time, virtual queues, etc., etc., etc. So I think the major challenge will be adapting to the new normal and taking in consideration the whole visitor's journey, starting with online ticketing, then following the experience in venue itself, and also the post-venue experience as well. So how do you follow up with your guests? How do you keep on engaging with them? But the good thing is that technology is here to help in each step of the journey. So I think this challenge will become way easier as these leisure venues start adapting these new technologies.
Yeah, indeed. I think you picked exactly that point up, that hoofdlukken. Here again, we are with the Dutch. Props to yours, by the way. He also mentioned that in our last episode that the entire visitor journey is something that needs to be considered. There are so many different touch points. We cannot only think about that one thing, for example, a camera in the park that will solve the entire social distancing problem or topic. Also, our CEO, Camille Khan, mentioned in our very first episode this as well, with the whole moving strategically to online sales. And you've also mentioned our participation in the IAAPA webinar, right? So remember when we got the go from IAAPA, we were really excited about it. And I think our sales VP, Bernard, did a really, really great job conveying what Convios Crowd Control can do for the leisure venues. So let's just listen in, right?
Yes, let's do that. I really remember when we got the confirmation, we were so excited to showcase what we could do to help the leisure industry itself. So yeah, let's relive the moment, our grand moment there on the webinar.
Social distancing will redefine social interaction and shape many aspects of how people and venues behave in the future. So we all know that your guests will only enjoy and relax if they feel safe. You aim to provide guests a safe experience while still optimizing capacity and revenue. You want as few obstacles as possible for both your guests and your team. For that, you need advanced and proven tools, data, and insight. This is why we bring to you Convios Crowd Control, our AI-powered solution to manage visitor spread and online reservations. We offer features such as visitor spread management, online check-in, crowd prediction, upfront payments, and crowd insights. All of this to ensure your venue's safety and control. We also automate your capacity planning based on things like optimized time slots, while predicting how many visitors you can expect. So you act accordingly and avoid overcrowded scenarios, which I think is one of the main priorities right now. So we offer crowd control as a standalone module with at the heart crowd control reservations, our advanced reservation system. The good news is that it can be integrated with any existing ticketing shop or any open backend system. So from undated tickets, season passes, and tickets sold via external channels, and even third parties, crowd control reservations will ensure that you always follow regulations with upfront online check-ins and our time slot reservation feature for all your tickets. So Convius offers advanced technology with a marketing platform integrated and has been an expert in spreading visitors using dynamic pricing for online ticketing sales for years. So currently we have partnered up with more than 100 leisure venues throughout 13 countries in Europe, facilitating smart, quick, and easy online sales, visitor spread, and the management of it. I would love to show you more about how to actually do this. So we are offering free consultations on our website. Just go to convius.com and book a demo with one of our team experts, and we will be more than happy to help you.
Yeah, I think Bernard did a really, really great job, as we said before, on summarizing this in such a concise manner and giving a first idea. And I really, really think, judging from this seminar, knowing the industry by now really, really well, we are among many to be able to actually profoundly help the industry to be safe and responsible, and subsequently also bring great experiences, the escapism to the people. So now that we've already talked about measures that you can take starting at your online sales, all before the visitor even arrives at the venue, which is a very first important step, but let's also focus on some in-venue measures. You mentioned cameras, we mentioned heat scans, mobile radars, tracking wristbands, whatnot. Which one got stuck in your mind and why?
Okay, so we saw so many things and several stuck in my mind, but if I had to give you like a very quick response, the one that stuck the most was actually a wearable wristband that alerts either staff or guest via a vibration, and I think it was also through lightning, like a LED light flashing in when the person wearing it was within 2 meters of another wristband. And I thought it was super interesting how to like manage actual social distancing within the venue itself. So this is a nice way of thinking how the new normal is gonna be, right? So not only did they get notified by logging the information of the wristband, associating it to a specific time and the date, the venue could actually do this contact tracing, which is something that everybody's right now super interested in. And I thought it was pretty smart. Then you could also do things like virtual queuing and cashless payment, like loading a whole amount of money into your wristband and then start paying attractions or meals, or trying to make everything as cashless as possible. I also remember that with these wristbands, you could control your actual time slots. So, for example, if you are a venue which your time slot is of 3 hours, after those 3 hours were over, the wristband would not allow your guests to go into a ride or to go into a virtual queue or even making any payments. So this would actually limit your time slots as well and help you have even more control of who is coming when and at what time in your venue. So I really liked how this solution helped venues control and trace social distancing within the venue itself. I thought it was super cool to have something you could just wear and you as a guest be safe and be relaxed that everything's controlled around you. So I think that's the product that stuck more in my mind. So what about you? Which one was the one that you remember the most?
Well, thinking about the in-venue measures, so having that in focus, what you just mentioned, that was super innovative, like a super great solution, because I also believe that giving the guests a feeling of control is if they are physically or visibly aware what is happening and what is being implemented to give them safety. So I think for me it was a mix out of the mobile distance radar you can access from your phone and the heat maps also integrated in your phone. I think, yeah, as I said, having something that your guests can use themselves is going to give them a great deal of security, while also providing park owners, because this is of course also super important, with the right data to be at an all-time alertness and have a constant awareness about the situation in the park and being able to monitor it. On the other hand, of course, cameras and heat scans within the cameras are also very useful, and yeah, most likely a little easier to implement, as it involves only the park owners handling this hard and software, whereas the mobile applications, the wristbands you mentioned, they give control to the visitors in somewhat way. So yeah, I think for park owners, maybe these more overarching technologies might on the first look appeal more. On the other hand, it also all really depends on the sizes and the type of attraction or park that we talk about in this sense.
Yeah, I totally agree about that. And I was just thinking, as myself, as a user or as a visitor in one of the leisure venues, I would be so relaxed and I could ultimately enjoy my experience, knowing that I have like a technology that is actually being like my bodyguard or my safeguard. And yeah, it will just make my experience way better than if I was just like fearing that I'm not in the correct distancing, or what happens if I encounter somebody who has been contagious. Like, I think these are things that most leisure venue owners are having right now in their mind, right? Like, how can we make sure that our guests can have the best experience ever?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine this coupled with a technology that we mentioned before, something like crowd control that can actually guarantee the first step, and then there's the second step. I think that is basically the dream scenario, if possible. But tell me about the webinar. What was the most surprising thing for you to see?
Okay, so I have this, I can tell you super quickly, because to the day of today, I still remember what it was. Even though the webinar was a couple of weeks ago, there was one technology presented where you could use your face as your ticket for a completely fast and touchless admission process. So what you would do is, like, you could even go online and register your face in order to make the admission process like even quicker. So for me, that was super surprising and definitely like an unexpected technology, using your face as a device for you to make your experience faster and safer and all of the contact points quicker. For me, it was super crazy and super innovative in this way. So yeah, I definitely the face as your ticket was the thing that surprised me the most.
Yeah, I totally get you on that point, because for me, I felt the exact same way when I saw it. And I think it's odd that we feel odd about it, because it seems so ahead of time, although we are using this kind of technology every day to unlock our phones, but using it like in this public context and in an entirely new context was so, yeah, unusual for me as well. Yeah, but we see leisure markets in Asia already appearing to be ready for it, using it. So yeah, but I mean, we're in Europe for now. And yes, we need to think about this market and what's the right technology at the right timing right now. So what do you believe was the main takeaway?
Well, I think that the main takeaway is that technologies are here actually to support leisure venues with their whole visitor's journey. I think I mentioned this previously. It is kind of pointless if we only focus on technologies that will help you regulate measures within your venues without even thinking about how to enhance and optimize your ticketing experience or the whole contact points that your visitor has with your brand, maybe even before making a purchase or buying their ticket. So I think we have to look the bigger picture here, and we have to map out how or what is our visitors' journey since before they even get in contact with us until they leave the park. And there are technologies that can help you within each step of your visitor's journey. In the end, technology is always created to make our lives easier, and in the end, the lives of our visitors easier. So I think that is the main takeaway. And I also think, how challenging would it be if you are a leisure venue that has never had any experience with technology itself? Basically, I think the biggest challenge is how to make the adoption of these technologies in each step of the visitor's journey easy and foremost quick, because we have, like, leisure venues have to open now. Like, we've seen how this has been evolving. Here in the Netherlands, we have a lot of leisure venues that are open or thinking of reopening in the next few days. And we see the same in Germany, in Poland, in France. So we have to see how we can adapt these technologies quick and easy.
Yeah, I think this was the perfect summary of what we should have in mind when maybe also being a little bit concerned about this adaptation process. But I think it can also be super exciting for venues as well as tech companies who want to implement these technologies to help, because it's also our task to make it as easy as possible. Well, Suania, thanks so much for sharing your thoughts about social distancing technologies and how they help to facilitate reopening attractions. It was great talking to you.
Yeah, Vanessa, thank you so much for inviting me. I'm super happy I can share my take within what is going on around the leisure industry. There's so many things that are happening every day. Situation is changing every day. So maybe what we hear or what we're talking right now in a couple of weeks is gonna be obsolete or is gonna be totally different. So I would be glad to be back whenever you invite me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, with exactly what you said, your phone might just be ringing in a few weeks. Thank you, Suania.
Bye, thank you.
We're already at the end of our 5th episode of Convias on Air. My name is Vanessa, and it was great bringing to you what has been happening in the world of tech and leisure. And finally dive a little deeper into the technologies presented to the world to help facilitate social distancing. If you like our show and want to know more, check out convias.com or check our blog. We got a great piece about how AI and tech can be the key to opening your venue's doors. But we also got a bunch of great insights and exclusive material to make your reopening successful. You can find our blog under blog.convias.com. Have a great day, and please join us next time.